This is a Louie Tee Network exclusive.
Who else could it be? Me, your me. Louie Tee, welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me on the 2016 NFL Draft Prospects 101 series, your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names of 2016 NFL Draft. We're talking edge rushers. We've talked Joey Bosa. We've talked Noah Spence. Let's talk about another guy that I think can have a huge impact in his rookie campaign in the National Football League. I'm talking about long, wiry Georgia outside linebacker, inside linebacker, defensive end. Call him what you want. I'm talking about a man with two first names. Never, ever trust a man with two first names. Leonard Floyd, Georgia Bulldog. Here's a guy, 6'3", 6'4", 232 pounds, great length. Okay, for a guy his size, and I look at him and even though he's not as long as an Aldon Smith, not as long as a Deion Jordan, and I mean that in the best way possible, okay? Don't let Deion Jordan's name cloud your judgment. He's a hell of a college football player, okay? Transgressions got him in the NFL, bad fit got him in the NFL, but that guy was a problem at Oregon. And Leonard Floyd, to me, is in the mold of those guys. Very long. When you look at him on the field, he's disruptive a lot of times because of his length. And it's his legs, they're long. His arms, they're long. This guy is a long athlete. Speaking of which, his next pro, long, fluid athlete. You watch him run. It's so graceful. It's so easy. It's easy money when you're talking about Leonard Floyd on the football field. There's one play. He's playing against Clemson in 2014. They split him out in the slot against a receiver, and he's running step for step with a wide receiver 25, 30 yards down the field and breaks up a pass. That's the kind of athlete Leonard Floyd is. They don't make him like this. These kind of guys don't grow on trees. I can't wait to watch him run at the combine because he's got long strides. I think he's going to eat up a lot of turf with a minimal amount of steps, and it wouldn't be surprising if this guy blazed the combine with a time because he looks like an athletic freak. Very versatile. Lined up at outside linebacker, inside linebacker, and defensive end at Georgia. They used him everywhere. He was mugging the A-gap. Then he was outside rushing as an outside linebacker. Then he had his head in the dirt as a defensive end. Then he was standing up in the middle of the defense as a middle linebacker. This guy was everywhere. He was split out in the slot, checking over a receiver out in the slot, in zone coverage. You name it, Leonard Floyd probably did it at Georgia at some point. So there's versatility here, but I'm gonna tell you, and I'll be the first to tell you if you haven't heard it already, he's best at one position, and we'll talk about that one position a little bit later on in this breakdown. Elite quickness. To me, because he's so long, the quickness is deceptive. You look at the explosiveness that this guy brings to the table, and it's because he's so long, he takes such big steps. He's on you so quickly, and he makes a move, and you're just kind of in awe at what just happened because it's so quick. He has an inside rip move where he goes outside, and he's so big. It's almost like a basketball player taking huge European steps when they pick up their dribble, and he takes these big steps, he's on you, and boom, next thing you know, he's inside, and he's at the quarterback. And I can't tell you how many times this guy got interior pressure on the quarterback with an inside rushing move because he got the tackle to open up their hips outside because of the threat of his speed outside, and he goes inside, and it's so fluid, it's so easy. He's inside, and he's making a play on the quarterback. Good hand usage and a shoulder dip to match his hand usage. A lot of people don't understand how big technique is when you're a pass rusher. You don't got to be the most explosive guy. You don't have to be. There are guys who have won in this league for years without being the most dynamic or explosive athlete, but they've won with hand usage, technique, knowing where their hands need to be in order to beat the tackle in front of them. And every guy is different. So if you study enough, you know where the hand placement is and the proper technique that should be used to execute the move that you're trying to execute, you can win on a lot of snaps in the National Football League. And this guy uses his hands very well to defeat the blocks of tackles and guards. And then to make it even worse on them, once he beats you with hand usage or just pure speed, then he gives you a shoulder dip for a guy 6'3", 6'4". When they dip the shoulder, like we saw Von Miller doing, when guys can dip that shoulder, DeMarcus Ware has been a master of it for years. When guys can bend that corner, dip that shoulder, it's so hard. Go look at Justin Houston. The best pass rushers that we have in this league, they probably have a mean shoulder dip. Because when a guy has already missed and they're looking to try to get you, and you dip that shoulder and they're pushing it air, there's nothing they can do about it. Because you gotta remember, most tackles in this league, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", they're big guys. They don't want to bend down. They don't want to get down and have to push somebody. So when you beat them and then you dip that shoulder, it's a wrap. And this guy, Leonard Floyd, can dip that shoulder like nobody's business. For his size and his length, for him to be able to dip that shoulder, that's going to cause a lot of tackles problems at the next level. Surprisingly stout at the point of attack. For a guy that's 232 pounds, you can't just move guys anywhere just because you feel like moving guys anywhere. Georgia put him at inside linebacker because they said, hell, he can stand up at the point of attack. You don't put a guy that's soft or you think he's too light in the pants at inside linebacker, because as an inside linebacker, you got to take on blocks. You got to clog up the middle. You got to eat up space. You got to make plays at inside linebacker. You're not just there to be eye candy. So they put him at inside linebacker because they said, damn, Leonard Floyd is stout at the point of attack. So if we need him to go fill the A gap, he can go fill the A gap. If we need him to go blow up a fullback in the B gap, he can do that. So he's surprising. Looking at him, you see a long, wiry guy. You're like, there's no way this guy is holding up at the point of attack. You a damn lie. He is holding up at the point of attack. I was very impressed. There were times where two guys would be blocking him, and he's not necessarily making a play, but he's taking up space, and they're not driving him off the spot. They're not moving him 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. He's taking on guys and forcing the issue and allowing other guys to come in and make the play. Very selfless player, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on when we talk about some other things about Leonard Floyd as well. High motor. Okay, another one of these guys that will run for days. They'll run around the field. You rarely see this guy taking a snap off, and they asked him to do a heck of a lot at Georgia. He was their playmaker defensively, and when that much pressure is put on you, it's not uncommon for a guy to say, all right, I'm tired, I'm gassed, I'll take one snap off. You don't see that with Leonard Floyd. He's a guy that's giving maximum effort just about every snap. So there's a lot to like here with Leonard Floyd. But then there are some drawbacks. Let's go to his cons. 17 career sacks. Okay, before we even jump into his cons, that's not a huge number. That's not an earth-shattering number. It's a good number, okay, for a guy that played 3 seasons in college football. But keep in mind, Noah Spence is a guy that really played 2 full seasons of college football, and he had over 20 sacks. Okay, so for a guy like Leonard Floyd who played 3 full seasons essentially of college football, 17 sacks, not blowing your doors off, and I'll explain why when we get to these cons. Let's jump into these cons, okay? Uninstinctual as an inside linebacker. Now, you can look at this one of 2 ways. One, that's not his natural position, okay? And remember I talked about him being selfless. He's a very selfless individual. Anytime, and again, it's really hard to quantify that, because how many college athletes have you heard come out and say, no, coach, I'm not playing that position? Okay, as a young man coming into college, you're 18 years old, 17, 18 years old, 19 years old, your coach says, hey, you know what? You are a hell of a high school receiver, but we like you at corner, or we like you at outside linebacker. You're not going to say, nah, coach, came here to play wide receiver and not going to switch positions. You're just going to do whatever the coach asks you to do, especially if they tell you that's your best way of getting on the field. So it's not often you hear a guy say, nah, coach, I think I'm pretty good over here at outside linebacker. I don't think I want to play safety. Thanks for offering, though. I appreciate that. I'm really glad that you thought of me in such a high light that you would love to put me in a different position, but I actually like it over here at outside linebacker. You don't hear that very often, but still, To me, he's a natural pass rusher. Okay, Leonard Floyd shouldn't be playing inside linebacker. He shouldn't be running 30 yards down the field, even though it's nice to know you got a guy that can. Remember, we saw Von Miller do that in the Super Bowl, running 30 yards down the field with Jericho Cotchery and knocking the football away from him down by the goal line. That's what playmakers do. So it's good to know that that versatility exists, but you don't want Leonard Floyd. You don't want to take your best pass rusher away from doing what he does best, getting after the quarterback. So I don't like the idea of Leonard Floyd being an inside linebacker, and I'm pretty sure teams around the league that are scouting this guy, that are having him very high on their board, they're thinking, this guy's got to be a pass rusher. We got to put this guy in positions to make plays, and I think that's the most important thing. So when I say that he's uninstinctual as an inside linebacker, not his natural position. So you're learning everything that he did at inside linebacker. He was learning on the fly, essentially. I think you saw it in his sophomore year a little bit more, and then in his junior season, they played him a lot at inside linebacker, more so than they had in the first 2 years combined. So there was a lot of learning there. It was a big learning curve for him, and a lot of times he'd just sit there and he'd watch the play, and he had to actually see what was happening before he would react. But I don't want him as my inside linebacker. If I'm a team looking to draft Leonard Floyd high in this draft, and I think this guy could be a top 20 pick, and really, we could get to the top 15, and I wouldn't be surprised if he and Spence and Bosa are all gone. If you're drafting this guy in the top 15, you're drafting him to be an edge rusher, not to be an inside linebacker. Just saying. Slippery tackler. Okay, when I say slippery tackle, what do I mean? Okay, so he beats the tackle around the edge, and he'll go to bring down the quarterback, and he'll start at the chest, and he'll slip down to the waist, and then the quarterback will get away. Or he'll beat a guy with the inside. Let's say he's, as an inside linebacker, he's mugging the A-gap. I mean, he's in that A-gap, and he is mugging the hell out of it. And they snap the ball, and he takes off like a bat out of hell, splits the center and the guard before they even know what the hell happened. And next thing you know, he's on the quarterback, and he starts up around the quarterback's neck. He's so excited. He's got so much energy. This guy's a big ball of energy. He's so excited. He's in the backfield. He's going to make a big play, and he starts up at the neck of the quarterback, slides down off of the quarterback to his chest, and next thing you know, he's on the ground, and he doesn't have the quarterback in his hands anymore. I'm like, hey, dude, tackle the guy. Stop being so damn slippery. And so there's times where he'll start up at the shoulders, and he'll slide all the way down to the legs, and he'll get him, but you're like, dude, he still could have threw the football away because you didn't get him down the first time. Stop being so damn slippery. He'll be an inside linebacker. He'll stand up a block, make a play, get off the block, shed, get on the ball carrier, slide all the way down to his legs, and let him go. He's a slippery tackler. I need him to be a lot more physical in terms of tackling and finishing the play. Finish as a tackler. I think that's what I'm really looking to say. I want to see him finish more as a tackler. When you get to the quarterback, sack him. Don't get there, do all the dirty work to allow somebody else to get a half of this sack. Don't allow somebody else to get a piece of this sack, or don't miss the quarterback at all and allow him to get away and throw the football away and live to fight another day. Get him down on the ground. You did the hard part, which is getting there. Now finish it. Finish the job. Not a big enough presence in the run game. Okay, and I gushed about how physical he is at the point of attack, but it's one thing to be physical at the point of attack. Sometimes just doing your job is good enough. Okay, when you're at inside linebacker, sometimes your job isn't necessarily to go make a play. Even though if you're in a 3-4 defense, you want the defensive line to keep you clean, and then you want to run, and you want to run to the football, make plays. But sometimes as an inside linebacker, your job is just to fill a gap, allow somebody else to make a play. And he does that. But sometimes you want to see these guys discard a lineman or a tight end and get to the ball carrier and make a play. You want to see a guy not just hold a space and not give ground, but also make a tackle, make a play. I don't think he's as impactful in the run game as he could be, because he's got half of the equation down pat, which is, hey, I'm going to stand this dude up. I'm going to get this leverage. He's tremendous. That's why he's so stout at the point of attack. He uses those go-go gadget arms, extends them, and gets great leverage on a offensive lineman or a tight end and stops them dead in their tracks. But he's not getting to the ball carrier the way that I think he could. I think he could snatch him away, get off of me, get in the backfield, make a play. I think he can do more of that. And I want to see him do more of that. And I think he will do more of that. I think that comes with more experience and him just being comfortable at one position, which he didn't get to really do at Georgia. To me, I look at Leonard Floyd and I say to myself, he reminds me a lot of what Deion Jordan was at Oregon. A guy that if he would have just been turned loose, if they, like Deion Jordan at Oregon, had they just said, hey Deion, just go after the quarterback, don't worry about it, he would have got 12 and a half, 14 and a half, 15 sacks every year at Oregon. He was that kind of athletic freak. But they had him dropping in coverage all the damn time and taking him away from what I thought was his best attribute, getting after the quarterback. I felt the same way about Leonard Floyd at Georgia. I thought they asked him to do so many different things that it took away from the one thing that I thought he was best at, going after the quarterback. I think if a team has a scheme that allows this young man to just do what it is he does best, and that's just go after the quarterback, you can be getting yourself a big-time player in Leonard Floyd in the 2016 NFL Draft as an edge pass rusher. He is a pass rusher. He's not an inside linebacker. Look, I don't mind him running with a receiver or running back 25 yards downfield because he can. I don't want him doing that all the time, though. I want him going after the quarterback. That's where this guy excels. That's where I think he can make his best and most indelible mark is as a pass rusher. That's Leonard Floyd in a nutshell. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as we'll talk about more edge pass rushers because there's more to come here in the 2016 Draft Prospects 101 series. I'm your host, Louie Tee. See you next time.
There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie Tee, be sure to follow me on Twitter at InTheLabRoom, or you can like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. That's In The Lab Room on Facebook and at In The Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.